everybody else. I hope this helps. What made me want to make a lecture on invasion and attacking this week was because I played a game. So I'll start sharing my screen now. Okay, so I played a game. Yeah, with my student actually. It was with Marty. We were we were doing. I reviewed some of his games, and then I decided to play a game and just talk him through everything that I was thinking about during the game. And so maybe this would help him get a better idea of like how I think and how I play, and would help him. And so when I was playing the game, I was playing as white. I just put up a random challenge. Anybody could have challenged me, and a 7Q challenged me. Um, and he played here. Um, do you guys, I mean, you don't have to all answer at once, but do you guys think this is a good invasion or a bad invasion? Or if you guys all want, you can all tell me.
Well, the one thing about it is that it's actually 2 lines away from both of those white stones that are near it. And I don't know, I guess I've always been told that a third line or a fourth line approach to a stone might be better. So I would think that maybe G17.
Okay. Um, so for me, regardless, actually, if it's this or this, I think this is a bad invasion because there's 3 stones here, and then I get an extra move next. And so this area doesn't look like black has a lot of livability, right? Like it's going to be very difficult, I think, for black to live here. So at this time, especially at this time of the game, like I thought that this invasion was one out of place and two a very bad area. And when I looked at his rank, I remembered back to when I was 7Q. Um, I didn't read the attack and defense book yet, and I was actually stuck at 7Q. I think from when I was like 19 to like 21 or 22. So I was stuck there for quite a while. Now I had a long gap of not playing, but still, I was stuck at 7Q for a while. And once I read the attack and defense book by James Davies in the elementary series, like I really learned, how to fight and like how to invade and defend. And so I jumped up from like 7Q to 3Q, within like a year. It was like really fast progression. But anyway, my point is that to me this was a really bad invasion, because it doesn't really have a lot of ways to live comfortably. So when I played here as white, I took away his ability to make a base. Right, he's gonna have a very difficult time making a base in this area. So he jumped out. I'm playing not attaching to him, right? Because this would only make him stronger. So I'm playing around him, kind of give him like a gentle hug and building my area at the same time. Same here, just poking at his weaknesses, making this corner much stronger and making it much bigger. So right now, all he has is just a long chain of prisoners, right? Like this invasion is not gaining him any points, and is kind of actually giving me lots of points on both sides. And so that's why this invasion is, I think, a terrible idea. And this is how we should be attacking our opponent. I'm not trying to kill him. I'm allowing him to get out, right? But what I'm doing is I'm building on both sides to make points. And so at when this game was all over, when I looked at it, this like the game was fairly even. Like at this point, black has a corner, another corner, and even another corner, right, and a stone in the middle here. And so, this game still could have been really tough for me. But once he played here, it immediately became like easy. I was like, oh, this was a big mistake. Now I'm gonna profit off of it for the next like 20 moves. And so, I hope that you guys understand this concept. And if not, I really want to introduce the idea of like attacking, but not planning to kill it, more just planning to profit on both sides while you're fighting it. And I have examples of this in all, lots of these games. So, let's take a look. So this one was, I played a game against my student Chip, And I just actually, this doesn't really involve this much, but what I did want to talk about is praising this idea. Now, maybe nowadays it's not as seen in modern games, but in like the old Japanese books I have, in up to 2016, I always thought it was good to be praised, to play an invasion where you can make a two space base on both sides. I'm sure it's still useful today, but nowadays, the computer comes up with all these attachments and like things like that, But I still really like this idea of playing a move that has two space base potential. No matter which way I attack him, he's gonna be able to make a base. So I really liked this move, and that's really all I wanted to say about it. I wanted to praise it. Was um, just that I was starting to make this area really big, and he saw the correct direction, and then played the correct move. But I just want to move on from there. So looking at this game, this was with Sunship or Adam. Yes, Adam. I don't know if he's here today. I guess I'll take a quick look. He's not, but he usually comes to our class, so I wanted to look this over. And this is Aaron, one of my other students. Um, so at the time, it looks like Black invaded here. And unlike the chip game that we just looked at, he can't really make a two space base on both sides. So this invasion might not be the best move. Um, and so, if you're asking what a better move might be, maybe a shoulder hit, or some attachment would be nice. But anyway, and so Adam played here, but this was not aggressive enough, right? This isn't putting pressure on Black. Black actually can make a one space jump on both sides for attachment, and he can jump out, and this looks pretty comfortable for White right now. So instead, White should have been more aggressive. And while Black tries to run, we use that same technique that I used, where you're peeping and keeping all your prisoners chained up. And then while Black has to run, White is building on this side, and he can start leaning on this group, to keep these two groups separate, to make the corner stronger, and to keep this under attack. But Adam played here, so the pressure was a lot less, and he played on this side, which was incorrect right now, right? Because if you're allowing Black to come over here, attach, or play out here, whatever, you're losing area on this side. You can still get some, but not nearly as much as what we got in the other example. And so this is the wrong direction to push this invasion force. So instead, I would have made them heavy and still played something like this. And it's not as nice because this white stone isn't here, right? But it's still pretty good. So, this was the wrong direction, wrong direction. Um, Black was able to get out very peacefully, or very easily. And then at this point, Black is kind of out already. And White did manage to get some of his points. Not as much as he could, but he got some. And now White is actually surrounded. And so if Black was to play something like this would actually uproot White, and White would be in a lot of trouble here. So this failed attack, for this bad invasion, now got turned around and countered. Now this didn't happen in the game, but it could have, and so that's my point. But so when we look back, this move didn't feel like a good invasion point because it couldn't make a two space base on either side. So instead, we should use attachments or shoulder hits, maybe even something really light like this. But even then, this can be manipulated. So this was a bad invasion, and then this was a bad attack against it. Wrong direction and wrong execution. So I just really wanted to show you guys this. And yeah, so we'll move on. So this one, I have it set up as a question. I have this one for Bonnie. I guess I'll ask you, Vanessa,
Yeah.
where do you think black should play next to continue this attack?
Mm, I think C would work better in terms of trying to profit from it.
Okay, so yeah, C is your favorite move here?
Yeah.
Okay, so in the game, this is what you chose. But in actuality, I like to think that B or A would be more effective. Because when you pick C, when I look at this area, you're not really building much. Um, and so you don't have a lot of potential here, right? White can take the potential away very easily. So this move becomes mute. Um, and when we look at B, it's separating these two groups, which later on, if we'll just quickly look over like a little variation I made. You're giving white really only one funnel to go through. I mean, white could come over here, but I would suspect that white would go through this funnel, and then you can chain the enemy. Right, this peep makes what we've shown in the other games, and then we can come over here and start harassing this group. So by making this strength here, we've now gotten more potential to attack on this side because we're starting to slowly encase this group. So if white was to, counter it, we can see that black can continue to separate A and B. And so B still isn't alive, right? If black plays a move here or here, this still technically isn't alive. And this group isn't technically alive yet. Of course, I think it will live. It has plenty of places to run. But remember that we're not attacking things to truly kill it. We're attacking things to get better positions and make lots of points. We can see over time, we've just built enough a nice little wall or influence for this area while attacking this. This still isn't alive. And then you can come back and even start harassing these 3 stones. But can you see that this kind of leads to a better direction than this B one?
Yeah, I think I was only thinking about one move and like with one move that was where I had stones, but if I could think a little bit more ahead that I could place more stones later, then that would make more sense.
Yeah. And the way to help you guys visualize this stuff is that whatever move you do, it's directing white. It's like being like a shepherd dog, right? Cattling the sheep or like cows or whatever. Where whatever we play, it's gonna direct the running group. Same with atoms, right? Like we had 2 directions to, harass this cattle, right? And so he played here, which was the wrong direction, right? It's only gonna help black. But if we play on this side, we're guiding him where we want him to go, and we're gaining all the benefit. So in this case, it's the same thing. Right now, white has this nice move here, or like out or whatever, and you didn't really gain too much with this move. The only thing you could say is that you did stop white a bit from pressing over here, and you did help this stone. But this stone you could even consider a throwaway stone. It's just in a good position for the shape, and so now we can act upon that good position. Like the whole variation I showed, I don't care about this side whatsoever, because this side is very open, and you're not going to gain a lot here. But on this side, there's a lot you could gain by attacking this group and gaining lots of points here. You might even be able to kill it, and you might continue to be able to attack this group later, which I didn't get into. But another direction we could look at was after all these moves is maybe something like this. But honestly, once again, with white here and here, this area doesn't look like there's a lot that could be gained. So I would much rather make points on this side, right? But anyway, so this was another good example, I thought. So we'll move on to the next one. So this is Terry's game versus Colossus. And this was started with this. I thought this was a terrible invasion um, by Sean. Now, I don't know. I'm not a 3 Dan, so I could be wrong. But from what I can tell is you have quite a lot of strength here. You have stones here that can develop on this side. And so once you attack here, this was perfect, Terry, because now he has a weak group that you can benefit on both sides.
Yeah, and he
Um,
put it there. He put it there so I could attack it.
okay, all right, yeah. So he's purposely playing a bad move to guide you into good moves. That's good. Um, so Black played here, which was good. This is that technique we saw in pretty much all the examples. It's just a simple peep, but what it does is it chains these prisoners together, and so they're not making eye shape if they're a straight line. This was actually really good. And at first, when I saw it, I was like, "What is she doing? Like, we need to keep harassing this group, right?
And
need
that's what he
something."
said when he reviewed it, that I should not have. I mean, I started to attack it. I should have kept attacking it. And yeah, we did discuss that.
Yeah, I thought so too at first, but I also really like the idea of hammering down these stones, although they can still make a pretty good living shape. So I can see why my instincts felt the same way as Colossus. But when he answered, obviously this was great for you because now you got the move you needed. And so the attack continued, and you used the same technique, which is good. And so now we're here at the question. Now let's ask somebody. Actually, I'll ask you, Terry. So what would be the
I
best?
think capping makes sense now. So I would be.
Okay. So I think yes, in the game you picked capping,
Okay.
but in my opinion, I think either move would have been really good, and I really like C specifically. So at this time, when you cap, it's giving white the decision to where to move, right? Like I said in this
True.
review, whatever move we pick, we're guiding our sheep, right? We're the sheepdog, and we're guiding our sheep. And so this move is very open for white to come over here now. And this black
Right.
group isn't as strong as, it should be.
Right.
And
And
so,
then I started to worry that.
yes, right. And so this cap is the wrong move for two reasons. One, at this time, there isn't much here just yet, right? Because white can always come out. So this when you cap, your influence is facing this way now, and it's guiding white to his other group. So instead, playing C forces white to play here. If white doesn't play here and plays something else or the same move, now you can come over here, and this would be amazing for black, right? Like white,
Right.
it got encased. You're building lots of points this way. You're pretty much safe at this point. Um, and so this would be a very good result. So white's going to have to respond. And again, black can play here because if white plays the same move or whatever, you can double Hane. And so now if white just submits, you got this amazing result once again. Or two, if white plays this, once again, you've gotten a very strong result. This has to live, right? This has to make a move to live.
Right.
And this Panuki, even though we don't like giving away Panukis, is facing a very strong black group. And so this isn't going to amount to much. So now the attack can continue, right? Or even play something like this. But yes, so this cap is not the right time for it or direction, in my opinion. Instead, we want to make noise in the west to attack in the east, right? We want to, just like you did with this move. This move, you thought he would respond, and so this move helps you get more influence to attack this, right? So this is that same concept. It strengthens your weak group, hurts his weak group, or his group that could be weak if he ignores it, right? And then it builds up strength to face against these guys more. So if he plays again, or jumps, or whatever, now you can come and cap. And this is not nearly as dangerous anymore. Okay. This makes sense?
Yes, it does.
All right.
When I finally get the lesson link for this lesson that happened yesterday, I'll send it to you so you can take a look at it if you feel like it, because he does review this after we played it. So you might want to see what he has to say compared to what you say.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Why did he agree with the cap when you reviewed it?
I can't remember at this
Okay.
point. You know how things just like fall out of your head.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah, I wouldn't mind taking a look at it.
Oh,
I'm
but
curious.
he did mention, no, you know what? He
Hmm.
mentioned C. I remember now because he told me about how it was Sente.
Yeah, yep. It's Sente, and it hurts this group and helps
Yeah.
fight this group. So it's
Yeah,
like an
he said that
amazing
was
move.
the best move at this point, I think.
Yeah, I thought so too. And all right, so we'll move on to the next one. So this one was Alex, shark animal, and let me remember what I'm looking at here. So it is apparently White's turn, and we're looking for White's best move. Okay, yes, I remember now. All right, Alex, are you still with us?
Yep.
So it's White's turn. What do you think the best move is in this situation? So when we look, you kicked, Black stood up, and now it's your turn.
Normally I would say C, so you split up the groups. I think in this case I was worried about even if I played C, Black could just expand towards B and live. So I don't know, maybe A. I don't know.
Okay. So in the game, you played B, right?
Right.
And so this looked too close and too aggressive and not correct to me. So in the game, he played here, and then he played here. So he kind of got to like connect up and get a lot of strength.
Yeah.
And then this should result in a good position for him. I don't think I actually looked too much further. But yeah, when he connected, this is obviously very good for him. So you were correct in your first instincts. So C should have been the right move. And
Right.
yes, he does get to live over here, right? But is this like terrible, right? That he gets to live here, especially if you get this next move.
Right. No, that looks good for White.
Yeah, yep, that's right. So instinctually, we should know that we want to cut our opponents apart. This group is very strong now because this got to live, right, in the game.
Yeah.
And so, this group is just going to live and we can't do anything about it. And so we want to make sure that we split it from any other group so that they can't just get a free life.
Right.
Now, like you said, you knew that he was going to be able to expand and make like a living shape. But even if he does, this is fantastic for you, right? Because, you're gaining a lot more than he's gaining. Right? And that's the goal of like how we attack and fight is
Right.
once again not to kill, but just to get more than your opponent. In every example we looked at, White's making no points here. White's making no points here.
Right.
White's Black in this case is making no points here, while White is making points on both sides, right? Both sides, and so on and so forth. So the examples of this attacking once again isn't to kill, but just to do better than your opponent, just to put them in a crappier position and for you to gain more out of it. And this is that next level that you guys need to get to like 5Q, 3Q, 2Q, is learning how to fight like all these examples, because that's really what triggered me to be able to get to, as I know that 2Q is not that high, but to get there, you know what I'm saying, to get to that next point. So this is an example of Marty's game versus Ollie. And when we look at this game, black continued to try and separate white, right? And so white did this double Hane, and now we want to look at this position. Is Marty in the class today?
I'm here.
Hey, Marty. Okay. So why don't I ask you, looking at these options, black is next. What do you think the best move would be for black at this point?
I think I know what I did, which perhaps you're criticizing. Well, I think I played B.
Mm-hmm. I think you did too, right? Yep, you played it. So you know the move that I think is wrong.
Yeah. So, well, I guess C. I mean, because A looks stupid to me.
Yes. Okay. You're right. I like it. So when we look at the game for B, right? You played here because you wanted to separate this group, right? A and B. You wanted these two groups to be separated so that they're weak, right?
Yeah.
But when you Atari'd here, you know my rule. Usually you don't want to Atari in a crosscut. Instead, well, even if you played like this, then he could kill it, right? So,
Yeah.
even with this, you have to come back now, and then he can make a strong position.
Yeah.
And then even this cut looks like it should work, but it doesn't, right? So, it's an unfortunate situation, but white did get to connect with his groups. And later on, I don't know if this ever came, but if white just played here, then literally A, B, and C are all connected now. So this Atari was the wrong Atari. And what it was over-attacking. So, we looked at all these examples of like good attacks, peeps, cramping white, cramping your opponent up, right? This is like pretty cramped. But in this case, if we attack too much, then it backfires on us, and then we get punished, right? And
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have felt this all the time, facing against stronger players, even opponents at your level, right? Where you thought you were going to kill something and you're attacking, and then they just live, and then you get screwed over, right? So this is what we would call as over-attacking, right? Like trying to attack something that just isn't worth it. So, like you said, C is the correct answer. Because once white plays here, and black gets this, whether white takes this or not, right, it doesn't matter, because we can look what black is gaining out of all this. Let me look at the actual little variation I did. I think it's this one. So yeah, you can clearly see what black is gaining out of this, right? Black is getting a lot of territory and a lot of influence and thickness, and white still only just has a wall with like one capture. So at this point, you can see black is taking full advantage of attacking white very subtly without like overly forcing it, right? And so white really isn't making a lot of points. Maybe white will make 2 or 6 points, whatever. If white plays here or here, this is probably good. But white's only going to make like a few points here, while black's gaining a lot of points on the side. And gaining points on both sides. So this same idea of like attacking your opponent while making points on both sides and influence is really, really good. So when I was looking at these Ataris, I looked to see if this worked. If it worked, then this would be a good move. But unfortunately, there's too many weaknesses here. And so it doesn't work. So instead, I'm just glad to take, all the stuff, right? Like, let them have a flat, straight wall, and I'll take all the stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. All right. But still, I like the incentive. But this was actually a really good lesson of like going above and beyond for an attack that just doesn't work. That was a good example. Now we got to Jory. I don't think Jory's here today. But I did look at this game. So at this time, there was 2 stones here. For black, at this point, black has a strong group here, strong group here, strong group here, strong group here. So the biggest move, would be to either, break up this area or to attack these, in which he put pressure on them and then built a pretty big, nice moyo here. He needs to finish the moyo, but I still think this was a decent decision. But just for his sake, if he wanted to attack these, I would have placed here to take away the base, because white still can, jump in here and take the corner, right? And so white can still get a decent position here, and black can capture 1 stone. So instead, I might have attacked it this way, either kicking or leg sweeping. This is called the leg sweep. And so when we look through this example, white doesn't want to get hit on the head of 2 stones, so white stands up. And then we introduce this. I've talked about it once or twice. You don't see it too often, but I use it quite a lot when I'm attacking a 2-space base. Has anyone ever used this elephant eye attack before?
No, because it looks like he can just walk right through
it. Yeah, that's right. It looks like it. Which yeah, let's look at the example of him trying. But so this works very well against a 2-space base. In every game you play, there's usually a 2-space base. So this is a good strategy to understand. Just know that usually you need black to be present, of course, on both sides for it to work. But when white tries to jump through, use the knight's move. And now when he pushes, you can extend. And when he tries to get out, no matter which way he tries to get out, you can use another knight's move. And at this point, white can't escape the clutches of black. There's just no way that white can make an eye in this position. And it's because when we make tiger's mouse, we make eye shape. And when black is on both sides of these tiger mouths, you can see this should have been a tiger mouth this way, but it's broken. This should have been a tiger mouth this way, but it's broken. This doesn't lead to eyes, this diagonal shape, when there's 2 stones on it. It's pretty complicated stuff. I rarely see it, even in my own games. But it does happen, and this is a really good shape to know because, like I said, 2-space bases are all over everybody's games, right? So you should be very familiar with this elephant's eye attack. But when we look, no matter what way white tries to escape this group, it really can't. It can't escape. It can't make an eye. It can't escape. It's just good. It's just good. Although this looks a little sketchy. I'm not gonna lie to you. But it still stands. And even if you let white escape, so let's say you realize that after this move, there can be trouble. Black still made points here and has made a massive influence out here, and white just barely survived. He had to work really hard to do it. So there's a good opportunity whenever you get to do this position. So I just wanted to introduce this move to you and talk about how to approach attacking these. Kicking it would be really nice too. This would actually be very similar, obviously. But I like the leg sweep as well on this one. All right, we're getting to the end, and my throat's getting pretty raw because I'm still sick. So let's just quickly try and go through these. Um, so this is a question. This was a game I was facing Jaden. He's in the single digit Q class, and he's very young. I think he's like 10 or 11. So, but he's gotten really strong very quickly. Like within a year.
Yes. Yes, he has, because I played him even not too awful long ago.
Yeah, I think I met him after he was playing for a year, and in 1 year he went from 30Q to like 4Q and or like 5 or 6Q, and it's just very impressive. But anyway, um, so now it looks like it's White's turn, and my question is, what should White do next? Keith, I haven't asked you any questions. Do you want to try this one?
Sure, let's do it.
So,
Um,
we can get some setup going. So Black played here. I thought this was too close, so I attacked it. He gave up on it, kinda, or he made a move to try and connect it. And now it's White's turn. And out of these moves, what do you think the best one would be?
it's hard. I like C.
C. Yes. Very, very good. Very good. This is the exact move I did. Now, why'd you like C more than A? Wow.
A's fun, but I've messed around a lot with the attachment that is C, and there's some fun things you can do with it, and it gives you a little bit more to play with.
All right. Fair enough. So I thought a lot of you guys would look at A, and I'm glad you didn't, right? And so this is coming back all the way to the beginning of the lecture, right? We were talking about bad invasions. So this can't make a two-space base on either side, and it's very surrounded, and White gets a fourth stone against it. So this is a bad invasion. Whereas this one, it's kind of the same thing, right? Like, whether Black plays here, maybe I'd play the sorry, maybe I'd play this one. But White can't make a two-space base, and so this evasion is only going to help Black make points on both sides, hopefully, or at least this side. But this attachment is really good because Black should respond to it, because another move here would be bad against this corner. And White himself gets a two-space base. So if I played here, I can't get a two-space base. I just can't, right? Like, this is undercut. It's not good. But if I play the attachment, then I can get a two-space base. It's an amazing thing. So it's pretty much using the attachment rule of when you hit something, they should either counterattack or get stronger. And with that, both those results, you're gonna be able to make a two-space base for White, because Black has to worry about the corner. So this is a very good technique, and I'm pretty impressed you found it. Good job, Keith.
So Keith, when you said you messed around with this, what to learn about it, what did you do?
I played the low Chinese all the time, and I had a lot of people attached to it to break my wall, and so I practiced a lot with attachments to the 3-4 to kind of see what could be done about it.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Thank
and this is very popular now with the pros. That's why you don't really see this anymore. You usually see either a long version or this, right? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I mean a long night or this. You see this a lot in pro games now, because this one, once it's attached to, it becomes inefficient. It becomes a lot smaller. But anyway, so yeah, good job. So this is why I played against Jaden, and then Jerry is his younger brother, who's even younger than Jaden, and he also became very strong in 1 year's time. So I just wanted to show you an example of me doing this technique. So I showed it in Jory's little review thing here, and then this is me actually using it in a real game. So this was against black. I was playing white. We look at the elephant eye attack, right? This is that two space that I was telling you about. And then me using this, you could call it a cap if you want, but if it's, you know, if you see it as an elephant eye, that's another way to look at it. But yeah, you know, he poked through, and then I did the knight's move, and so now he really can't make eyes in this area. And so this group is becoming very much in danger. And whether it lives or die, white is going to make profit off of it by getting thickness. Which pretty much happens in the game, right? White got a crap ton of thickness. Black made 0 eyes coming through here. And then even though black lives, white got, you know, this huge amount of thickness. And then later it turned into points, right? Like, I was able to use it to make all this. So this was a really nice live example of me getting to use this elephant attack. I hope you guys try this out. It works very well as long as you have white stone, your stones on both sides of this 2-space base. That's the key to this this move working.
Nice. Oh, by the way, I got Jerry and Jaden confused. It was Jerry I had played.
Oh, okay. Yep. And this is just the last example. So out of all these games, we looked at good invasions, right? Chip's great invasion of having a 2-space base. Bad invasions, there was plenty of those in most of these examples in games. We learned about what you should think about when you're attacking something. So when you're attacking something, just understand that whatever move you choose, you're being the shepherd, right? You're being the shepherd dog, right? I don't know what you'd call it. I'm losing my mind here, but yeah, you're corralling around the sheep or the cattle, right? And so whichever move you choose is gonna help white, you know, choose where they're gonna play, right? Because that's how you're pushing them. And there's definitely better directions when there's always like a real, you know, good directions to play on. And so this was a good example of that. Was this Vanessa's game? Yeah, it was. And for Terry's game, this was a really good example too, right? We have 3 options which to corral our attack, you know, our cattle. And you know, this one isn't as good as something like this. And so we really gotta think about these things when we're attacking something. I don't know. I don't think I summarized that as well as I wanted to, but yeah. That's it. Okay. So then this last game was against Aaron, one of my students. He's a very big fan of the Sanrensei, and even though I showed him I can break the Sanrensei, he still likes to use it against me to see it. So he did everything correct. You know, I don't know if you guys know this move with the Sanrensei, but it's like the most modern way that, you know, tries to make the Sanrensei viable. So it was cool that he learned that and that it should have worked. But then he messed up. He's supposed to abandon this and play like here, so I can't make the Sanrensei, or here. But instead he played here, and then I made the Sanrensei. So now I broke up 1 corner, 2 corners. This is a mess, and then now I got a Sanrensei myself. So obviously I'm not gonna have a hard time winning this game. But in the end, if we look through all the game, at no point did he try an invasion. And so we just both built stuff, and then I built more, and then I won, and that was the end. So the reason I brought this up was, you know, we want to try invasions, right? And we want, even if they're bad, and we want to try to attack things, right? But if you have a game where there's no attacks and no invasions, then the person who has better direction of play is gonna win. So I kind of just thought this was a funny game to end on, because there was no attacks and no invasions. So yeah, that's really it. I hope this helps and brings some new ways of thinking about attacking. And yeah, I just want you guys to get to the next level. I'll end the recording here.